Hey guys, welcome to the show, and I'm just going to do a quick intro. For those of you guys that haven't done this yet, please make sure you hit subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notifications every time there is something new to see, something new gets posted, or we go live. So first things first, we got to do a shout out to the Patreon members. Right off the top, every time we get alpha members signed up, we give them a weekly shout out to the show. So Jeff Frank, Bruce Willis, Barbarian Arm Wrestling, Ready Go Garb, Brian Kerner, and Ready Go Solutions. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you very much. High Society guys, you get your shout out every time that we get a new member. You get the first one, but there's only two of you right now, so let's just shout you out right now as well. Stan, Scott, and Ward Drake. And some of the benefits of Patreon is that you get early access to content, but you also get exclusives. So I've been doing a weekly series, and we're about 7 episodes deep now of my Back to Jack series, which actually documents my training, diet, and the regimen that is getting me back down to a good fighting weight of 300 to 325 pounds from a starting weight of almost, 375-ish. So I hope you guys check that out. And that, of course, is all on the Patreon site, every single tier. You can join for as low as $2 a month and get access to all that content. We've also got a t-shirt store that we've launched, and the link will be down in the description below. We've got 2 designs on there. Hope you guys check that out. And of course, all the content we've been moving over here from Arm Crossfire. We've been doing that on an aggressive schedule, but in more watchable segments, keeping it to the 20 to 25 minute mark. So you'll see that almost every day during the week. We get one of those posted, and occasionally we'll throw one in on the weekend, which next weekend, not this one coming, but next weekend, you'll see the old bonus episode posted. So check that out. Thanks again for the support, guys. I hope you enjoy the upcoming episode that we are about to record with Mr. BJ Fokakis. What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Arm Wrestling Show. We are recording this one because of scheduling conflicts, but you guys will see it at the regular time. So we got a guest today, Mr. BJ Fokakis. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Just getting the day started. How are y'all?
Doing great. And we got my lovely co-host is here as usual, Mr. Jeff Frank, back from the brink of disaster.
How's it going, guys? Good morning, BJ.
Good morning, bud. How you doing?
Not too bad.
I guess, BJ, for those that don't know you, we should probably get into your history a little bit. So you start where you're comfortable. Like, where are you from? When did you get into arm wrestling? All that kind of business.
Okay. I'm from South Mississippi, Hattiesburg. It's where we've been holding our state championships now for the last few years. But basically, the way I got into arm wrestling is I was at the end of a pretty crappy relationship. It was a short relationship, but it was one I was having a hard time with getting out of. And I saw on Facebook a couple of my buddies had went to an arm wrestling tournament in Jackson, which is about an hour north of me. And a local buddy of mine, he fights MMA, and he was the one that I actually knew that was there competing. But he was there with Wayne Withers and Brad Mann. And I saw it, and he won a state championship. And I was like, man, I would love to come to a practice. So, a couple of weeks go by, and I don't hear anything from him. And I'm the type that if I want to be good at something or I want to work at something, I stay on them. So another week goes by, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm still wanting to, do that practice. So I think he called, 10 or 12 people together, and we got a practice together, in a guy's shed. And, I think I was by far the biggest guy there, and I didn't win a match. I didn't know anything. I knew, basically the old turn into a hook like a high school person. You're not looking at your hand, and I got smashed by everybody. And right at the end of the practice, one of the guys' dads kind of pulled me off to the side, and he was trying to show me what a top roll was. He's like, bend your wrist, sit down underneath the table. And I'm telling you, I was the most unathletic person in arm wrestling, and I had a background in baseball and basketball growing up, but this made me look unathletic. So I enjoyed it. The next day, I was hurting so bad. I didn't have anybody tell me about the tendons and ligaments, stretching that little bit that, like I said, I was an athlete growing up, so I knew what being sore was, but I didn't understand this type of soreness. So the next day, I had a pretty physical job. I was at work, and I literally could not hold my arm up. I was shaking so bad. I thought I was about to have a heart attack. I didn't know what was going on. So I schedule a doctor's appointment. I go to the doctor, and he's laughing at me. He's like, "Man, what this is your body's just not used to this motion, and that it's just your body adjusting." And he was right. And once that pain went away, I noticed a strength difference that I'd never had. And basically, that's how I got into it. I showed up at a practice and I sucked, and I went to a tournament a week later and I wasn't ready. I set a goal to win 2 matches or to win a match, and I ended up winning 2 matches. I ended up coming in third, I believe. And I mean, the hook was set. I was addicted. I was going to my first year. I went to right at 30 tournaments. I mean, I was somewhere every weekend, and that's where I got addicted to it.
What year are we talking here?
This was 5 years ago.
Okay, so 5 years is not a long time. Like, you're relatively still fresh into the sport. So let's fast forward a little bit. You've progressed along the way, and where did we first run into each other?
I ran into you. It was my second trip to Vegas. It was the year that everything was scheduled to happen that got canceled.
Yeah.
So, everybody was saying they were still going to go. I went the previous year, the ESPN year, and it was just an amazing experience. Even though I was brand new, I had no idea what I was doing. In looking back on it, I really shouldn't have been there. But it was a great experience nonetheless. And so yeah, I met you the first time the next year. That was the year BJ and Michael Todd had their little spat, and I got pulled across the table by you. So.
Well, I mean, I can't really say that you didn't belong there. I mean, at the time, in that 2016 championship, I think that was the year there was, a couple thousand arm wrestlers there by the looks of it. Yeah. So, what have you done? You've been kind of lighting up the arm wrestling world a little bit lately. So let's talk about that.
Man, I'd say in the last year or so, I got into a more serious relationship. I've been with my girlfriend now for about 2.5 years, and she has a couple kids, so that puts a damper in things when it comes to traveling and not having to answer for everything that you do. So I haven't been able to travel quite as much, but I still try to hit some of the bigger practices, some of the bigger events. And man, I got a guy now in our state that he was the man when I first started, and that's Wayne Withers. And there for a couple of years, he was whooping on me, and then for a couple of years back, I was whooping on him back. And right now, he's taking a step forward, and he's out there, showing out right now. He had a rough match a couple of weeks ago with Dave Chafee, but I think we all know, about Dave. So that doesn't take anything away from Wayne. If you haven't pulled Wayne lately, I'm telling you need to.
I don't think I've ever pulled Wayne.
He has a hand like you just can't imagine. And if you watch the match with him and Dave, Dave typically likes to go inside, and Dave was, flat wristing, kind of top rolling Wayne. And I have to believe 100% it was because Wayne forced him in that position. Wayne is the hardest person I've ever met in my life to hook. So he's just a very impressive puller, and I think, he's going to turn some heads here within the next year, even more than what he already has.
Jeffrey, what do you got? You seem to be a little antsy in your pantsy over there. What's going on?
I was just, the dogs are going to start scrapping there. Yeah, so, obviously, BJ, I told you, you're obviously one of my favorite arm wrestlers. I watch you regularly in your matches that you post on Facebook, and just how you represent yourself. You seem like a real good man. What are your statistics? How big are you?
Well, I went to the doctor the day before yesterday. I'm 6'5", and I weighed in at 326. So that's probably the heaviest I've been. I do own a restaurant now, last couple of years, so I do eat a little more than I used to, and I'm not much of a runner anymore. But yeah, I'm 6'5", 326 or so, and I've got a decent sized hand for anybody that's never grabbed it. And for a super, I like to pride myself in being fast. I like to try to be first. I like to try to, move you off center as much as I can. But that's my best attributes.
Yeah, because you got some notable wins over some big names. Maybe tell us about some of for the viewers that don't know you, some of the bigger name wins that you have.
Well, let's see. I've got some wins. A couple wins on. Let's see. Derek Smith out from California. Of course, I've got a couple state championship wins over Wayne. I beat Dave Morocco before at a tournament in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I beat Daniel Mosier a couple years ago for the state championship overall in Louisiana. I actually beat him with speed, believe it or not. And that's hard to say over Daniel. But one of my favorite wins, I'd say, was a triple elimination state tournament in Louisiana. And anybody that knows, if you go down to Louisiana and you pull left-handed, you're going to run into a Chop Bertrand. And I actually beat Chop 3 times in one day, and I'd never beaten him before at all left-handed. I beat him 3 times that one day for a Golden Gator down in Louisiana, and that was one of my favorite wins. You know, I know Chop's lost a lot of weight here in the last year, but this was a couple years ago. He was still, big old Chop Bertrand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a who's who of pullers, and congratulations on those victories. That's impressive. So you have at my Red Deer Charity Classic, I have you coming up, and I can't wait to have you come up to Canada. You have a match against. It's a hard match to talk about because we don't know much about this guy. But give us your thoughts on your upcoming match here next August against Mohammed Tafreshian from Iran.
Well, first, I'm honored to be able to pull somebody like that. I've international competition. That's one thing I'm extremely new at. I don't have much. I haven't pulled anybody internationally. So when you asked me to pull him, and I went to try to find some videos on him, and I can't find hardly anything on him. He's stout. I mean, I'm looking at his arms, I'm looking at his wrist, and I got to imagine he's probably a hook puller. So I'm going to have to hit high and stay outside to try to stay out of his hand, because I'm sure, as long as he's been around, and I believe I heard you call him the godfather of arm wrestling in Iran, or the founder. So I got to believe he's going to be a tough opponent to pull with, and like I said, I'm one to watch videos, and I can't find many on him. So it's I'm going to come in just with feel and what I see and observe. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know much about him either. He was actually presented to me by somebody else, and he wanted to come out to North America and try pulling some of these bigger names. And I said, absolutely, he wants to come out here. I know a guy that I think it'd be a good match, and I haven't seen many videos on him either, other than just what I've been told. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see that match and see you in action up here in Canada.
Man, I can't wait to get to Canada. It's beautiful up there.
I have never heard of this Mohammed fella, so I'm trying to find some information on him while we're talking here.
I found a lot of pictures. I just couldn't find many videos.
Okay, so this is we're talking now, probably August, Jeff, for this the Red Deer Charity Classic.
Correct. Yeah.
But let's back up a little bit. We're thinking TAL matches in the not so distant future. Maybe sometime after November has come and gone, when COVID disappears.
After November 3rd.
Is that the U.S. election?
Oh, yeah. And guess whose birthday is November 4th? That'd be this guy. So, yeah, I think I'm going to get a nice birthday present this year.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even want to ask who you hope to see in there, but maybe you're
not Joe Biden, I can tell you that.
Well, that's interesting because, I don't often get a chance to have USA guys, to talk to about that. But there's all this talk about him being in cognitive decline. So it's almost like everyone just wants Trump to win.
Yeah, I just have a hard time voting for a guy that can't complete a sentence. And, I don't think that he's not smart. I really think he's losing, starting to get dementia or something. Something's happened physically that he's just not capable. And this Kamala Harris, we don't know enough about her for her to step up and be a president. So at least we know Trump can get things done. Does he say stupid things sometimes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we all do. So,
hey, and you said it best. And when you're voting for anybody, it don't matter. Trump's not the best spoken guy too in his own right, but the platform that each one represents. I mean, to me, Trump hands down has much more solid.
Yeah. Well, what I like about Trump is he'll tell you in a heartbeat to shut up and listen, and that's what I like.
And you need that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And we've never had that. We've always had a politician that tried to follow the T, and Trump don't care about the T.
Yeah.
But Ryan, where were you going with the TAL there? Were you calling out BJ?
I mean, It sounds like you're calling us both out, Jeff.
I'm just asking.
You're just setting it up. You're setting it up. Well, we talked about having a match, so let's talk about having a match. Like, who's on your hit list? What's your wish list, BJ? Now that we're off of politics again, and here I was just getting started. But anyway, let's go. Let's talk about the hit list. Who's on your must?
Well, there's a lot of guys up and coming down here in the South right now, or I should say the United States period, but specifically to the South. As far as Canada, I mean, I don't know many guys up there. I know, whenever I think of Canada, I think of, Devin Merritt, Ryan Espey, and now all of a sudden you're starting to hear a lot of, BLM.
We just got demonetized.
No, I don't know him that well. I'm just talking about the up and comers.
No, BLM.
As far as supers, I don't. I met Mark Gay, I think you say.
Yeah.
I met him in New Orleans a couple of years ago, and he beat me left-handed in a fairly good match. Now, I'm a much better right-handed puller. But as far as Canada, I would love to pull Ryan again. Not that I'm, trying to step on his toes saying I could beat him, but I know I can give him more than what I did in Vegas a couple years ago. But as far as the United States, man, anybody above me I want to beat. But then you got, some of these names like Ernie Thompson. I don't know if y'all know Ernie. I've pulled him before. Oh, yeah. He is an underrated puller. He don't get out of the South very much, but if you pull him, he is an extremely strong guy. But besides him, man, Corey West. Have y'all? I know y'all.
I know Corey.
Yeah, he's
man. And see, like I said again, Corey's a very strong left-handed puller, but Corey's a very good right-hand puller too. So, not this weekend, but next weekend, I'm going to be going to Arkansas to pull in that Michael Todd international competition. So there's going to be Mike Aiello, Nick Zena, Corey West, Ernie Thompson. I heard Brian Sitton's coming. I heard Robbie Burnett's coming. And that's just a few. Wow. There's more coming that I just didn't name. But so, if you go to a tournament like that and you place, period, I think that says a lot for you. So you're going to see some good matchups next weekend.
That is a crazy lineup. Just the guys you mentioned.
Bruce Jones, forgot him.
That's a scary lineup in that class. So,
oh yeah.
I mean, if you're up for it, man, I'll have a match with you. What the hell?
Yeah, hey, if you guys want to do it, I'll make it happen. TAL3.
Okay. Hey,
BJ, Brian Espey, main event.
Look into it. Let's see what the date looks like. And like I said, I do own a restaurant, but I can typically get away on a Friday early or something like that. So.
And if I beat you, I get to come down there and eat for free.
You can absolutely come eat for free. Absolutely.
So you said TAL3, Jeff.
Yeah.
So TAL2 is already booked up.
Yeah, well,
you got the BLM versus Dallas.
Well, match. Yeah. So
back.
Jamie from WAL emailed me last night, and he approved the rematch. I'm shocked.
Okay, that's cool.
So yeah, the BLM Dallas Langston rematch is a go, and then I have Akash Kumar coming from India, one of the best pullers in that entire region. He's a killer, going against Sam Popkert.
All right.
So,
well, I mean,
if I put you in there, Ryan, and a guy like BJ, it's got to be a main event, right? I don't want you just a main card. It's got a headline.
Well, yeah, and time needs to be on our side a little bit here. So wait for COVID to hopefully get under control here. Like I can't go to the States and pull, and then come back and quarantine for 2 weeks. Yeah. I have a career that wouldn't allow for that, and I think BJ, you're probably the same. Yeah. We need to wait for things to make sense time-wise, but and of course, World Arm Wrestling League needs to say, give me the old tip of the hat, which I'm sure wouldn't be an issue, but asking anyway, because I still,
I'll send the email right now.
I am a World Arm Wrestling. Let's just wait. Let's wait till TAL2 is getting closer, and then
you can still set the foundation and get the permission in place.
Right. Yeah.
You're a man that does not rest on his laurels, Jeff.
I just booked Chuck Young and Curtis Cameron for TAL2 as well.
Chuck Young. I met him in Vegas a couple years ago too.
Curtis Cameron's a bad man.
That's why him and the Destroyer, TAL2.
That's an interesting match. I don't know that. Oh boy, I think Curtis is gonna put on a show. No offense, Chuck. It might be a clinic.
Have you pulled Chuck, BJ?
We after pulled in Vegas, and I was brand new. This was my first year in Vegas, and I beat him. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I beat him a few times. We didn't do any ready goes or anything, but after pulling all day, they had the after pull room set up, and we stayed in there till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, RVJ got a little comical that night.
He always does. He always does.
Man, he was on top of the tables, and he was slamming people from overseas, and they were speaking in their languages, and he was just slamming them.
So, yeah. Ryan, I believe did I not book you with Wayne Withers at my Red Deer Charity Classic?
That is correct. Yeah, we have.
How do you see that going, BJ?
Man,
fight analysis.
I know Ryan was training there for a while when he went and pulled. I'm not sure what country he was in, but I was following it. So, man, I really can't call it. I would like to see it. I think that would be an excellent match. I think
that's a right-hand match too.
Yes, Wayne's hand and top roll ability matched against Ryan's power and overall he's been pulling for so long. He's a very smart puller. So I think going against my teammate, I kind of have to just because of the experience level. I think it'd be best out of 5. I think it'd be 3-1. I could see 3-1. I could see Wayne slipping in a win early if Ryan wasn't taking him serious, but. Wayne's strong, man. I'm telling you. I mean, you saw what he did to Mask, last year, and it, I know Mask came down here to Mississippi, but he's still Matt Mask. But
after to me,
it's going to be complete devastation.
You got to have the confidence. If not, you're half beat before you get to the table.
Actually, Ryan, like I would, after your match with Richard Lupke's, I mean, I was extremely, extremely impressed, and I would still go to say you're extremely underrated, and I think your potential is huge, and I honestly think it's hard to count you out of any match. I honestly think you win that one, and that's not favoritism. I'm after watching you and Richard Lupke's, it's just going to be a great match, but I do think you take that.
Listen, man, I have we should focus on BJ, but let's talk about training a little bit. So I've completely changed everything. Like I am training under Engen now, and it is completely different than the stuff that I've done. In fact, it is more of a throwback to stuff that I've did 10 years ago. So it is nuts, the volume and the level of training that I'm doing now, and I'm down in the 350s now. So I mean, by the time I pull you, BJ, I'll be a pretty jacked 325ish. So we'll be pretty much right on the level. But man, it's going to be 2021. As long as the world isn't the shits for the whole year, is going to be a breakout year for me. And I've set a lofty goal, and that goal is to be in a hammer match before the end of the season in 2021. So that's right-handed, because left-handed gets not much love down there right now.
Right.
So,
hey, if your goals don't scare you, they're not high enough. So
yeah. And when I told that goal to Engen, it excited him a little bit. So he's we're working it, man. We're working it, and he's like a mad scientist when it comes to arm wrestling. He can look at guys and strategize and game plan like he's yeah.
What's your training schedule look like, BJ? Are you working out every day? Are you focusing on strength and conditioning, or primarily just arm wrestling?
Man, if I told you since I've started arm wrestling, like I told you, the first practice I went to, I didn't beat anybody. So from that day to where you're looking at me today, 5 years later, I've been to the gym I think 3 times. When I was in school, I played college basketball and college baseball at a Division II school and NAI school, and I was a gym rat. I was in the gym all day, every day, and for some reason with this sport, I can't. The couple of times I did try going to the gym, and I know you got to get past the initial soreness and all that, but I couldn't get on the schedule. I couldn't get on a routine with my tournament pulling and then practice pulling. When you pull in a tournament, the next few days you're pretty sore. You're not really wanting to go to the gym other than to get the blood flow, blah, 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 blah. And I found myself in that first year going to so many tournaments that I never had time to go to the gym, but I was progressing extremely fast. So I stuck with the table time thing that I kind of took from hearing John Brezink. You know, he mentioned pull-ups and push-ups and a lot of table time. So since I've started, like I said, I've been to the gym about 3 times. I do keep a Captain's of Crush hand gripper, 3. I keep it in my face all the time when I'm at my cafe. So I'm constantly working my hand. But as far as in the gym working on biceps and triceps and, you know, all that, I haven't been in a long time. And it's something I do have to push myself to do if I'm going to be any better than what I am.
So you're telling me you train and do reps with the Captain's of Crush number 3?
That's and not even as much as I do. But the Captain's of Crush 3, I've got a video on Facebook. I can hold it closed, both hands, upside down too. Most people do it this way.
Yeah.
I started training my hand opposite whenever I first got it because it was harder. And I can hold it upside down closed for about a minute. And I have a 350 I can almost close. I can get it right there, but I can't quite close it. So that's all I do. I mean, I work my hand, and you know, when I'm at practice, I pull as many people as I can, and that's my training regimen. But don't get me wrong, I've got to get my butt in the gym doing, you know, some extra stuff if I'm going to get any better.
So Jeff, I'll tell you right now, I'll be hooking with BJ. I won't be trying to take his fingers.
I don't want to go into a hook if possible.
I think you should stay outside, Ryan.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Jeff? Are you new to this sport?
I know when I pulled Ryan, we hit and we went into a hook, and I trans into like a press, and that was a bad mistake. Ryan about ripped my shoulder out. I'm telling you. Oh, it wasn't good.
Those were good times in Vegas, man.
I enjoyed it.
I wish, if I had one wish, it would be that those for arm wrestling, that is, those events would come back and we would have main draw tournaments for World Arm Wrestling League, because I love those events, man.
It was the best. I mean, everybody had a chance. I mean, you could show up and, you know, if somebody drew somebody, you know, not that they were going to let BJ and Merritt draw first round, they're not going to let that happen. But, you know, if you get a bad draw the first round and you catch somebody they're a little tired, then, you know, you can knock them out real quick. And there's enough good arm wrestlers, you know, more and more coming each year that can slip in there and win a match with somebody. And it just it was fun. You know, you had everybody in the same hotel, same casino, and it was just a good time, man. I really wish they would think about doing it again. It was a great time. I enjoyed it.
Maybe when the TAL gets to a level, we can start doing big events like that and big casinos somewhere. Jeff,
I'm down.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have any here in Red Deer. We might have to shop elsewhere.
South Mississippi, we got plenty of.
There we go.
Right on. So your training consists of when you're doing table time, how many times, like in a 2-week period, would you get on an arm wrestling table?
Probably twice in the 2-week period. I mean,
so you're a once a week guy.
Yeah, more. Yeah, pretty much. And the main reason for that is everybody else around here is as well. The closest guy I have to me, Sean Hancock. He's 10 minutes through the woods, and he's a pretty good left hand puller, but he don't pull much right handed. And when I first started, I had a buddy live right down the road from me. He was a super, and I wouldn't say a top level super, but he was somebody to grip up with, and we'd grip up 3 or 4 times a week and pull 20-25% just to be working on motions and stuff like that. But he in the last couple of years, he's kind of fallen out of it, so I kind of lost that. But I'm more of a once a week type guy, once every 2 weeks, and I'm about 2.5 hours from Daniel Mosier and that group over there, and I'm about 3 hours from Justin Bishop and that group over there. So here every so often I try to sneak over there and pull with those guys a little bit.
That's cool. I mean, I have a practice every couple of weeks, and like it's every 2 weeks for me on the table because I'm doing lots of gym stuff, and lately it hasn't been at all because they've been shut down because of COVID. But
right.
I'm hoping that doesn't long-lived. We can get back on an arm wrestling table pretty soon. But I usually have the guys converge on my house, so I'm lucky that way.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's no shortage of talent to train with down in southern U.S. That's for sure.
That's for sure. If you're willing to drive a little bit, you can train with anybody. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago, we had a huge practice at Daniel Mosier's house, and I think there was 100 people there, and Michael Todd came, and we had the swamp people. They were there. So it's a good time. A lot of people.
You know what? I was actually wanting to get a hold of that guy. I would love to bring him up for a super match.
He's cool. He's a very nice, laid back guy. He had a little TV fame, but he absolutely don't act like it. In person, he or his son, they're both good people.
And he's a good arm wrestler.
Yeah, for his size, he's a little bitty guy, but he is strong. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pulling in them gators, I guess.
Well, I was at the Arnold's one year, and I hear these, and RJ was there, and I hear we're in the weigh-in room. So weigh-ins are the day before at the Arnold's. And I hear all these gasps, and there's like 100 people in this room. And I turn around, and there's RJ standing completely naked on the scale in the middle of this room full of people.
Trying to
cut. Yeah. No walk into the bathroom for the weigh-in, just do it. Yeah. What else you got, Jeff?
Yeah, I know. I just so I guess we talked about what's next on your schedule. You're going down to Arkansas, was it, to pull in that big tournament?
Yeah, that's going to be not this weekend. This weekend is my stepdaughter's it's her birthday party. We're going bowling, and it'll be next weekend, the 26th. I'll take out on Friday, drive up there, get a hotel, and kind of relax, find something good to eat, and pull with some of the best, at least in the South. But like I said, it's an international tournament, so I imagine you're going to see some people from everywhere. Michael's got a way of getting you on the phone and getting you over there. So,
is the United States open for that? Like, can people come in and arm wrestle, or is it just like within the United States?
I think going into the United States, it's easy, but I think the same rules apply when you come home. You got to quarantine. I think that's anywhere internationally. Yeah. But getting into the States is actually extremely easy.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. I just know that's the name of the competition. Yeah. But I'm like I said, I imagine we'll see some people, from other countries there.
Well, that's cool, man. Like if the world was open, I'd definitely contemplate going down there. Like Michael and I have talked about having a couple of exhibition matches, maybe with the left arm down there at some point. Like this was years gone by. We haven't talked about it this year, obviously, because things are different right now. But
yeah.
That sounds like a real good time and a good event. And
he said that after the tournament's over with, he's inviting everybody back to his gym for a bunch of after pulling. So
nice.
That's where you'll see some good matches as well. I can guarantee it.
Oh, geez, man, I'm a little bit on the jealous here because I want to get down there and just to hang out because Michael's a good buddy too. But it's I was invited to train with him and Corey a couple times, and once all this stuff is cleared up, I might take them up on it and head down there and do the thing.
So how about the WAL, BJ? Have they reached out to you? Have they put anything on your plate or any feelers there?
Well, I may have bitten myself in the butt with the WAL, and I guess I can say this now. But about a year and a half ago, I'm not going to call out any other names, but me and about 12 to 13 other arm wrestlers, we were called by a TV company out of New York that was looking at doing a TV show. And I had to get in touch with WAL about a release to sign with this TV company. And we signed with them. We all signed with them. And I don't know what ended up happening with it. It may still be going through. I don't know. I just feel like it hasn't because I haven't heard an email or anything back. But it was going to be a reality TV show that was being pitched to 3 different networks, and they're all top line networks. It would have been something that would have been big for arm wrestling. So I had to get released from WAL for that, and I haven't heard anything back from WAL since then. So I don't know if I made them mad. I hope I didn't, because I was at the time WAL. There wasn't much going on, and they were just doing super match series, and I didn't have a call for it. So I was trying to do what I thought was right for me. So we did sign a contract with this other company. I'm pretty sure it's already expired by now, and we haven't heard anything from them. So I would love to pull WAL, given the opportunity. Like I said, I've got some good memories with them, and I still represent them here and there. But just I haven't heard anything recently. So
did you not last year or the year before pulling a WAL Facebook prelim match?
No, I did not.
No.
Well, I think you're on the radar, man, and as a super heavyweight, you're one tournament away from getting considered, and I don't think the WAL ever holds. I can tell if Adam Wilmot's pulling there. I mean, I don't think they hold a grudge on anybody, and they'll even
Right.
bring
I mean,
back
we
Luke
didn't
Kent.
have any words or anything. You know, I just whenever I asked them for the release, they said that I was being looked at that time for whatever series they had going at that point, which it wasn't this past year; it was the year before. So I guess I had to make the decision at that time. But at the time, you know, when you're showed a contract and you hear TV, and I was super excited to even be brought up in the conversation for that. So, you know, whether it ever materializes or not, it was, you know, still a pretty cool little deal. And just to be mentioned with some of the names that I was mentioned with, I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I don't think you're far off, man. I think if you blow it up at this tournament, I mean, no pressure.
Right.
I mean,
I'll approach it like that.
you might find yourself getting a call sooner than later, right?
Well, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
And then they would harpoon Jeff's potential matchup for TAL3.
Absolutely. Make it fun.
We'll get that done before that new season starts.
Yeah, I can even get on here and yell and scream like I'm mad at you if I need to make it look more fun.
We just got to look behind the curtain, so no one's going to believe it now.
Right.
But it is good. I mean, it is good. Yeah. What do you think of it's been a topic of debate, and there's all kinds of things floating around because Gary Roberts and Travis are doing their show, and they have talked about doing a big main draw type tournament for some money. Now, do you prefer that format, or would you rather get involved in the super match side of things?
I from the get-go have been a tournament guy. Don't get me wrong. You know, if you have a super match that you want to settle something with somebody, I love watching them. But I just think the tournament style gives everybody a chance. Like I said, if you get caught up in a match, the first match that you have to struggle a little bit to win, from that point on, you're exposed. So I mean, both of them are fun in their own respective rights. I love a good tournament.
I do as well, and I would probably try, even though the WAL and Travis's relationship is a bit strained.
Yeah,
I would still try to pull that tournament if they do put it together, and they're talking about some pretty damn good money.
Yeah, I'd be there. I'd be donating, but I'd be there for the experience.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah, you're right. Like you said, anything can happen in a tournament.
Yeah.
You know, I found Travis. I had a phone call with Travis yesterday, actually, and he was actually speaking fairly highly of the WL. So it kind of seemed a little bit of a change of attitude from Travis. I found it interesting.
What are you saying? Are they mending their relationship?
I'm just saying his attitude towards him was 180 degrees the opposite direction. You know, he was speaking highly of him, the rule set, the setups, so I don't know.
Can't never tell him.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, I'll ask you this: what do you prefer as far as rule set? Rigid rules or WAL style?
Rigid. I don't like I never have liked the close your thumb, close your finger, because in that setup, everybody's moving, nobody's staying still. I just like, you know, either get a grip or ref's grip. I mean, the WAL, and to be honest, I don't like the WAL strap either. It's too thin. It seems to cut into your hand, but I think they changed that this past year, didn't they?
Yeah, they're changing it right now. Well, they've changed it for this upcoming season, based completely on the match with Jerry and Michael.
Yeah, I mean, it as great as the match as that was, you're having to, you know, fight the strap as well. And I think the strap and the ready goes, the way that they've done it from the get-go, needs some tinkering with. That's just my opinion. You know, I know a lot of people like it, Travis Bajent, but I don't. I personally don't. I like to be as fair as possible, even though I know that's not always the best thing. But that WAL, close your thumb, close your fingers, go, is not fair.
Well, it's built for TV, right? So if you're not fighting, you know,
that's true.
If you're not ready to fight 5 minutes before that match gets called,
that's true.
Then you're going to lose that match. It's there's really something to that. I mean, maybe one of the best examples of that, and one of the biggest controversies especially if you live in Europe, is the Hermes Gasparini Matt Mask match.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and they think that well, all of us over in Canada think it was just fine.
Oh yeah.
The Europeans think that Hermes got robbed.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think that guy sleeps at night over that match, to be honest.
Yeah. He came over here knowing what the rules were, so.
Exactly. And other people have come over fully prepared to compete under those rules.
Yeah.
And he was not.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I saw that one.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? What else you got, Jeffrey?
Well, let's do some predictions. Yeah, I want to see what your thoughts are on a BLM Dallas Langston rematch.
What's the rule set?
It'll be the same rule set.
So I'll tell you something right now, and I'll tell you this, and then I'll give you, if this was under WAL rules, I think Dallas dominates that match every single time because he can just get the strap by asking for it.
I guess I should retract that. I will talk to both guys if they want to.
There's
if they want to do WAL rules, they certainly can.
Brendan's not going to agree to that.
No.
But under rigid, BJ, take it away, man. What do you think's going to happen?
I kind of like y'all say. I think if it goes to the strap, I got to go with Dallas. Even though I think Brendan's a good strap puller, I just don't think he quite has the inside ability right now that Dallas does. Now, a couple years down the road, that may change. But if it goes to the strap, I got Dallas. If Brendan can somehow stay outside and hold on without that little goofy, it is a goofy slip. I'm not gonna lie. I heard Dallas picking on himself about it. But some people do that. I've seen. We were talking about Wayne earlier. I've seen Wayne be like he's going to top roll. He's up high, and then all of a sudden he just goes straight down. I've seen him slip like that, and they let him get away with it. So whatever you got to do to get out of there, I guess if you want to be in the strap, you got to do it. But I'm gonna stick with the USA. I think Dallas, with his move, I think he can get to the strap, and I think it'll be a good, exciting match that's going to get a lot of people riled up again. But I got to go with USA on it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think that under rigid rules, I think they're going to now that they've seen the match. I don't want to take anything away from the referees that did it, but now that they're aware of what's happening, especially with Dallas's slip, like if you're pulling under the WAF rules, that's an intentional slip, right? And he's setting up for it, and he's got his wrist bent back. So a really master level ref that has now seen the first match and is going to be watching for it is probably going to start calling Dallas unintentional slips. And I think he's going to get a lot of fouls. He needs to come up with a different strategy to get to that strap. And because of all those things, I think that Brendan's going to win the match.
I could agree with that. I mean, if he can't make it look any better than what he does, he's going to be getting falls.
He's going to have to make it look better, and he's going to have to, like, when he does slip, he is so close to getting beat. And, I mean, it's just, he needs to adjust the strategy. And I hope
maybe maybe the way he slips, if he sets up and fires into it instead of just that little, I don't know. I've never been that type of puller. I don't let my wrist go back unless it has to. I mean, I don't want it to go like Justin Bishop said one time. It just don't go this way.
Well, I mean, and he's setting up with his wrist bent back, and refs are not going to let that happen in the next match. I don't think.
I agree.
I think he needs to set up. I think he needs to go visit Travis and learn how to properly slip out in a top roll.
Exactly. Yeah. So here's another interesting prediction. I'm going to get you to go with here. BJ, Ryan Espey, Robbie Topi, Paul Passmore, Travis Bagent, left hand. Red Deer Charity Classic. How do you place them? Who wins? In what order?
Well, I've never pulled Robbie. I've watched him since I started. But man, you can't sleep on Paul Passmore. He's another one down here in the South that I forgot to mention a while ago, only because he's been rehabbing his arm. But I think
he's going to need some more rehab on his arm when I'm done with him.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to call it now. I'm going to call it. It comes down to Ryan and Robbie. I mean, not Ryan and Robbie. Ryan and Paul. And I'm gonna give it to Ryan, but I think it's going to come out to who takes the most damage along the way. Because Paul's just he's a bulldog. If you know Paul, I lost my father 2.5 years ago, and I think Paul lost his about 1.5 years ago. And that, being that we're so close to each other down here, has drawn us closer together. As I call, he's a brother of mine, and I know what that guy has in him. I've had to pull him a lot, and to beat Paul most times is not saying that Ryan can't top roll, because I know Ryan can top roll. You're going to have to take his hand, because if you go inside with him, he is a little miniature Todd Hutchings with all the side pressure he has. So he's a very
miniature
tricky
Todd Hutchings, because Todd Hutchings is already a miniature.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I meant that in a name sense.
Yes, I got you.
But he's just somebody I will never count out, because there's been a couple of matches that he was in, and I was telling myself, man, I don't know if this is good for Paul, and then Paul smashes him. So I've got a lot of faith in Paul. He's a good person. He's a good guy, and he's turned the death of his father into motivation, and I respect that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you have Travis Bagent in 3rd or 4th place then?
I see, and I know Travis likes to play a lot, but Travis don't look trained right now, and I think he will get trained, but it's another thing. I just know Paul. I know what he's got.
Awesome.
He's something else. He's impressive.
Interesting. Good.
Putting Travis down there at the bottom of the pack.
Well, I think you're gonna give him that first loss early.
What's that?
I think you're gonna give him that first loss early.
Well, I hope so. I mean,
well, it's going to start out. It'll be Ryan and Paul Passmore, because that was the original match, and then Robbie and Travis.
So there's no way that Paul and I can finish 1 and 2, because
that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
But man,
my prediction's no good now. I'm gonna go with Paul. I got to go with my man Paul. No disrespect.
You just think that's with your heart, not your head. That's okay.
Probably so. Got to pull for the underdog.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, if we're on the subject, I mean, here's one for you. We'll throw this at you. Cody Merritt versus Alex Kerdecha.
Oh, Red Deer Charity Classic. Yes, left hand.
Another situation. I know Cody. I think Alex is. Am I wrong? Alex is a better right-hand puller.
I don't know if that's true.
Well,
I think he's
a lot better left-hand.
Oh, he's better left-handed.
When he pulled in Moldova, the only guy that beat him was Pushkar, and there was a lot of good guys there.
Oh wow! See, I didn't know that. Man, it's always hard for me to go against the USA. But if that's the case, then I would go with Alex. I didn't know that right off. But Cody, he's been around like since I started. Somebody, first I went to a tournament somewhere and he was there and I didn't know who he was, but he was very impressive. And then I was there in Vegas when I think he tore his bicep.
That was in a match with me.
Oh, was that with you?
Yeah.
I was standing right there. I didn't realize that was you. And I was standing right there. And then up to that point, he was having a great day. I mean, Cody and has went overseas and won some stuff since then. But Cody's strong. He's another one you can't really count out. But Alex is 6'15". I mean, he's like 7'9".
Yeah, he's a
big old tall guy. And if he uses that leverage, he's going to be hard to handle.
I always use Dean Bolt's photos as a reference on how big a guy is, because I got a picture next to him, and then I see his pictures with everyone else. I'm like, holy shit, that's a big dude.
Yeah.
There's another one I'd like to throw at BJ, because he's a Southern boy, but he's not going to know his competitor, and that's Ali Hamadia versus Dustin Bishop, left hand.
I do know Ali. I met him with Matt Mask out in we were in L.A. at Scott Wynn's house. I met him out there. And he's another one that's been progressing here lately, so it's really hard for me to say. I'm a Justin Bishop fan. When I went and pulled out in L.A., he and I were roommates while he was cutting and I was chewing on cheeseburgers. So me and Justin have become pretty good friends over the years. Like I said, I train with him sometimes here and there. And you say this is a left-hand or a right-hand match?
This is a left-hand. Keeping in mind that Ali nearly beat Cody Merritt when he was 176 pounds.
I did see that as well. I saw that. Now this ain't an American versus Canadian thing. This is just because I know what Justin's left hand is, and I'm going to go with Justin. He's so technical, and man, when he gets in that strap, he's something else.
I'm really excited to see this match.
I am too, because like you said, with what Ali did with Cody, and he's just he's one of those that's just been progressing, man.
And
I think everybody that's paid attention seen that.
Yeah, and even at my last tournament, my TAL tournament, Ali went through BLM, relatively sound. Easy. Really? I don't want to say easy, but
that's impressive, man. Justin better have his training going, but I'm sure he does. Justin's not the type
Justin's a killer. So. Ryan,
you want to know what I think of this match? I think Ali needs to stop holding on to the Cody Merritt match in an overall where Cody was not expecting a big hit out of a smaller guy. And I understand that boosted his confidence, but he's talked a whole bunch of shit about a whole bunch of people, myself included.
Uh-oh.
And
I don't think he's talked shit.
He's basically calling me out, saying he's going to kick my ass in the overall. So I still think, Ali is in the match. I don't know what Justin's left is like.
That's impressive.
I think that, man, I think Ali could win. I think there's going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
Both guys are going to get pretty excited at the time. And, you might have to have security on standby.
Especially if Tony Bishop's there. Tony's always fun to have around, man.
Yeah.
No, I like it, though. I think Ali might win the match. Like, I predicted Ali a long time ago in an upset. But, I'm not going to put money on it. I already lost $50 to freaking Grippler because of Mark giving away his match to Evan.
Oh, man.
What kind of bullshit was that? Anyway.
There's another guy down in the south there, BJ. I believe he's from that I wanted to ask you about, and I've watched quite a bit of him, and I really like this kid. And that's I just kind of want your thoughts on him, and that's Dalton Duncan.
I pulled him in an overall. Where was that at? It had to have been over in Alabama. He trains with Justin and those guys, so he's a very good top roller. He's got a big hand to be. I'd say 6 foot, 6'1", something like that. He's a tall, slender guy, but he uses his height to his ability, and he's a very impressive up and coming puller for sure. Very impressive.
Yeah, interesting. I'd like to bring him up to Red Deer. He actually messaged me the other day saying that he's worked on some of his issues he had going on, and he's ready to come to Canada and pull. So
I think y'all would be impressed with him, man. He's one of those that if you seen him sitting over in the corner, you wouldn't think much about it. But when he gets on the table, he can pull.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we're sitting at the 50-minute mark, and BJ's got a restaurant to go open.
Hey, I told them I was going to be a little late, so they told me that they had it as long as there was money in the register, so we're good to go.
You're good to go. All right, Jeff. Anything else?
No, just want to thank you for coming on, BJ. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to meeting you and seeing you soon.
Hey, man, like I said, we were talking the other day, and you told me that I was one of your favorite arm wrestlers. That means a lot to me, and especially being that you're from Canada, you never know who's watching, and I tell people that all the time. So, I appreciate everything you've done for us and everything that you're doing for the sport, and same thing for you, Ryan. But like I said, I met you a couple years ago, and you humbled me then, and since then I've learned, what kind of person you are, and I appreciate everything y'all do, man. Y'all do some
good things. I know we got to get going here, but when I went to Kansas City last year for that WL tournament, I drove down to into Oklahoma and down in the southern, I guess south central type states there. The quality of people down there was absolutely surreal. I can't believe how nice the people are from the southern states. It's mind-boggling. They're just truly genuine people, and one of the reasons why, just watching you and on Facebook and how you conduct yourself, you're a true gentleman, and I wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate that, bud. It means a lot to me.
Right on, BJ. Appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks for joining us, man. And I will see you in the not so distant future, whether it's in a match with me or just running into each other at an event somewhere.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, bro.
All right, brother. Gentlemen, it's been a slice. We'll talk again next week.
See y'all later.
Talk to you later.
Later.